You may think that you have to set aside lots of time for in-depth practices in order to raise your vibration and call in the life that you desire. But as busy mothers, we want ease and practicality when it comes to the law of attraction. And this is what today's video is going to provide. And welcome to my channel. I am a mother of two and on my own personal journey towards understanding how to consciously create my own reality as a woman and as a mother. My channel has been created to help women and mothers like yourself to learn how to consciously create their own reality by understanding themselves and the laws of the universe. So let's jump straight into this video and get you high vibing with ease. These practices may seem small, but they are very effective, practical tools which you can use whilst going about your everyday to-day activities. Not only are these easy, but they have a huge impact on raising your vibration, which results in you having a much more uplifting, exciting reality, as well as allowing you to enjoy motherhood in a much more enriching way. So the first tool that I have for you today is to start a gratitude practice. Now, before you stop watching this video and switch off, because everybody recommends this when it comes to the law of attraction, just hear me out, because I know that you're probably asking the question, well, where do I get time to carve out extra time to sit down and write in a journal, to do a gratitude list? Well, this is what I'm going to walk you through on how you can still have a thriving, expansive gratitude practice without having to find any extra time in your day. As a busy mum myself, I have found that the best way to incorporate gratitude into my busy day has been to find pockets of time and other habits and routines that I have that I carry out every single day that I can tag a gratitude practice onto. For example, one of the ways in which I really enjoy incorporating gratitude into my day is in my morning shower. I have a shower every morning before I start the day, no matter whether it's a weekday or a weekend. So for me, it's the perfect time to add gratitude because I know I'm going to have a shower every single morning. It's a big part of my self-care routine that I have. And it's a really, really enjoyable way to do gratitude. And so whilst I'm washing and cleaning myself, I just think about all the things that I am grateful for, all the things that I'm excited about and feel blessed to have. And I just go through them in my head. And if you think about how long a shower actually is, maybe 10-15 minutes, it might even be longer if you're washing your hair or something. That's quite a big length of time that you're doing gratitude. And probably the same length of time that would be recommended for you to sit down in a room by yourself to journal. And here's a little pro tip for you. If you want to extend your shower time even longer, what I like to do is brush my teeth in the shower. It gives me extra long time under the shower, even more time for my gratitude, and I'm still adding to my routine. I'm not wasting any time in the day. And it's a fantastic way to start the day focusing yourself into that higher vibration, focusing yourself on all the things that you are grateful for before you even begin your day. So have a think about what habits and routines you have throughout the week, each day, that you could easily tag a gratitude practice onto. It doesn't even have to be something that's 10-20 minutes long. It can be just a few minutes. But if you tag a gratitude practice onto various different activities throughout your day, they all add up to being a substantial gratitude practice. So some other activities that you could tag a gratitude practice on could be on the morning school run. It could be whilst you're getting washed, getting dressed, brushing your teeth, putting your makeup on. Any self-care routine is a really good way to add gratitude. It could be whilst you're preparing dinner. Or another time which I really like to do my gratitude is whilst I'm waiting for my girls to fall asleep. And it's a really nice practice to add onto the bedtime routine, because I find that those are the kinds of activities that can become quite monotonous and challenging at times. And I don't know if you have felt the same, but sometimes I really dread bedtimes. It can be a very long, drawn out process. Other times, yes, it's amazing and I love cuddling my girls to sleep. But when I'm not in the right space, gratitude is a really great practice that not only gets me into a much better mindset, but it actually makes me look forward to bedtime. And as well as focusing on what you're grateful for, it's also really nice to focus on what your desires are. So this could be a really nice thing to do at bedtime when you're laying there waiting for your children to fall asleep. Just think about all the things that you desire. Think about that future that's coming towards you. And you can be grateful for this. Be grateful in the now that you know it's already created. It's already waiting for you. And all you have to do is get yourself into that higher vibration, get into the receiving mode and attract it to you. So let me know in the comments. I'm really curious, where have you added gratitude into your day? Or after watching this video, where are you going to add gratitude in your day? I love getting new ideas of where I can add it into my day as well. So the next practice that I recommend, which I find so helpful, especially as a mother, is to focus on positive aspects. Now, this is an Abraham Hicks technique, which is in Esther and Jerry Hicks's book, Ask and It Is Given. And the idea behind this practice is that you focus on a particular person and you focus on all of the positive aspects about them, because it can become so easy to focus on all the annoying habits, all the frustrations, and then what happens is when we focus on those things, our reality brings them to us more. We attract those things out of that person. It doesn't mean that by focusing on the positive things, they don't have those other traits. But what it means is if we are focused on the positive aspects of that person, then that is what is going to keep being brought out to us. So what this looks like as a mother using this practice is simply to think about all the things that you love about your children, or even your husband if you're having difficulties there. Think about all the things that you are proud of, all the things that you love about them, their uniqueness. As mothers, we tend to fall into this habit of constantly focusing on all the areas that our children are struggling with, all of the challenges that they are having, all the issues. And it's with good intention, because of course as mothers we want to help them. But from a law of attraction perspective, what law of attraction states is that the more we focus on something, the more we bring it into our reality, the more we notice it. And so it's exactly the same with our children. We do this as well with personality traits, behaviours that our children display that are less than desirable. And by constantly focusing on that, we are becoming a vibrational match for those behaviours. So in order to change this, what we need to do, without having to control our children or to try and manipulate them, is purely to focus our mind on the areas that we love about them, on the areas where they are achieving and succeeding and stepping into their own voice and becoming courageous. And then what happens is this is all we start to notice. It's a bit like when you buy a new car, all of a sudden, those cars are everywhere on the road. Now, there is not all of a sudden more of those cars being made or more of those cars being sold on the road. The only thing that has happened is you have placed your focus onto that particular vehicle, and so you see it everywhere. And exactly the same thing happens when we focus our attention on our children's behaviour. So we have to decide as mothers, which behaviour do we want to focus on? Which behaviour do we want to keep seeing in our reality more? And then simply choose to focus on that behaviour. And when it comes to anything that our children may be struggling with, by focusing on those issues, what is happening is it is potentially lowering our own vibration, because we may feel sad or distressed or worried or anxious about them. And when we're in those lower vibrations, we are never in a place to receive an answer, to receive an inspired action in order to help them. So we need to get ourselves into a higher vibrational place, into a place of gratitude, because that is where the inspirational downloads will come and we can better help our children. So all you need to do is list about 5 to 10 things about your child that you are proud of them for, that you know they are capable for. Think about into their future, know what they can achieve and focus on that. Think about what you want for them. You want health and vitality and happiness and enjoyment and freedom. Think about them in those scenarios. And I have a little pro tip for you with this one as well. And that is, I have found from my own practice that the best time to do this particular technique is when I'm not actually with my girls. And the reason for that is because what can happen is I'm focusing on something that may not be visible in my physical reality right now. So it may be a behaviour, for example, that I'm focusing on, and my child is doing the opposite whilst I'm sat there. You then have quite a strong conflict, and it's very difficult to then get into a higher vibration when thinking about those things. So it's much easier to begin with to do this practice when you are not near your children or with anybody else. This technique could be used with your partner, with a friend, a family member. The only time that I do this when my girls are around is when I have just noticed something that I am so proud of them for. And then I really roll with that vibration. I know that I'm in this space of gratitude and appreciation for them, and so I keep it going in that moment because the momentum is stronger. But that is the only time when I really tend to do this practice, when I'm around my children. So again, this doesn't have to be a practice that you need to carve out extra time in your day for. It could be a really nice thing to do just after they've fallen asleep, just for a few minutes when you're in that nice calm quiet space. Or it could be something that you do for a few minutes just before you get up in the morning. It doesn't have to take long. And this is the beauty with all of these practices, is that little tiny amounts all add up throughout the day. They're keeping your vibration on a constant rather than you having lots of ups and downs. So the next tip that I have for you is to ask yourself the question, how can I make the best of this? Now again, this is something that has come up from listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks videos recently, and this question seems to keep coming forth to me, so I felt that it was something that I really needed to share with you. And it's something that I have been finding in my own experience has really been helping me when I have those challenging times as a mother, when I am really struggling, when I am challenged and I am pushed. This is the question that just gets me thinking differently. And the thing that I love about questions is that when we ask a question to ourselves, even just in our own head, there's a tendency for us to listen for an answer. When we make a statement, we're not really asking for something in return. Now, it might be that you don't get any response to asking this question, but what I have found is that actually more often than not, something will come to me when I ask this question. So I'll give you a little example of how this presented itself to me the other day. So I was taking my girls to school. I was dropping my eldest off at kindergarten, and we had got to school and I had forgotten lots of things. I had forgotten the bag. I had forgotten my little one's coat. It was all a bit of a stressful mess, as I'm sure you can relate to having those times as a mother. And I was starting to get stressed and panicked and frustrated about it all. And I stopped for a second and I just said to myself, how can I make the best of this? And then, as if by response to my question, there was a plastic bag that I had in the back of my car boot and it just flew out of the car. And I said to my eldest, quick, chase after it, because we didn't want it to, litter up anywhere. And so she ran after it and it became quite amusing, and my little one started to laugh and my eldest started to laugh, and she brought it back and I put it back in the car boot again. And then it blew out again and it just became funny, and it just made me realise that not to be too serious, to just lighten up. And I really feel that that was a response from the universe. It was giving me an answer to my question, how can I make the best of this? And the answer was to lighten up and just be playful and to find something to laugh about. And actually, we ended up having a really good morning after that. So when you're feeling stressed and you're in a less than desirable situation, just try and see if you can stop for a second and ask yourself the question, how can I make the best of this? and just see what happens, see what comes up. So the next technique that I have for you is to focus on the little wins, because they all add up. For a long time, I was so obsessed with focusing on the big manifestations that I brought into my life. The big things like the house, the career, the relationship. And whilst there is nothing wrong with focusing on those and celebrating those things when they come into your reality, what was happening was I was completely missing all the small things that were being created and that were coming to me and attracted to me along the way in order to bring those larger manifestations in. But as soon as I started to focus on all the tiny little day-to-day wins, it allowed me to start enjoying the process more. I don't know if you feel the same, but I, for a long time, and I still fall into this trap of the mindset around, well, once I get there, once I have this, once I achieve this, then I'll be happy. I always feel like there's an end point, an achievement point. Once I get to it, then I'll have this. And I am starting to realize, I know in my head, but I'm starting to realize from my own experiences as well, that this quite often isn't the case. And so for me, by focusing on those little wins, it really helps me to enjoy the journey. And the journey is always continuous. And again, this is not something you have to sit and carve time out for. And if anything, I would say that this is a better practice than sitting for 20 minutes and thinking about things to be grateful for, because what this practice allows you to do is be grateful in the moment. And I believe that if you're trying to manifest things into your life and you're trying to consciously create your reality, then there is no stronger force than being grateful in the moment. So you could be grateful for anything. It could be that you're grateful that it's a sunny day and not a cloudy day, or that somebody has let you in traffic, or even just grateful for the fact that you got everybody up, everyone is dressed, fed, and in the car on time. It's those small little wins that all add up. And what I found from my own experiences, when I started to focus on these small little wins, they really did start to add up, and they started to bring in bigger things. I started to realize more little things to be grateful for. And once you start this practice, it becomes easier and easier to find things to be grateful for. In the beginning, it might be difficult. In the beginning, it might just have to be simple things like, it's a sunny day, or I'm up and I'm feeling well. But after time, the more you train yourself and your mind to focus on these things, again, the universe just brings you more things to be grateful for. I had an example the other day when I was in the shops with my little one, and again, I had been using this practice throughout my morning, just finding lots of little things to be happy for in the moment. And we were stood waiting in the queue to pay for our things. We only had a couple of things. And there was a lady who I wasn't quite sure if she was in the queue or not. So I said to her, oh, are you waiting in the queue? Because I wasn't sure if I had jumped the queue or not. And she said, oh no, that's fine. I'm not, I'm just browsing. And then the lady that was in front of me, who had a huge trolley full of shopping, just randomly said to me, oh, would you like to go in front of me? You've only got a few things, and rather than you standing and waiting with your little one whilst I put all my shopping through, you can go in front. And so can you see how these opportunities start to just open up when all you have to do is just focus on the small little things? And then what will happen is all those big manifestations that we desire will kind of just come. And the good thing about focusing on the little things is it takes our focus away from the big things sometimes, because what we can do with the big things, or the things that we perceive as being big, is we can place so much desire and longing for them that instead of being in a high vibration when we think about them, we step into this place of lack, because we look around and that manifestation feels like it's nowhere to be found, it's not on its way. And so it actually brings us into a lower vibration when we think about the things that we really desire. But when we think about these really small, tiny little things, we hold less attachment to them. And so it's a really great way to stay in a high vibration without holding on to attachment, and just allowing those bigger desires to just find their way in. Use the little things to bring in the big things. And if you're somebody who really wants to get, say, a 20-30 minute gratitude practice into their routine, If this was the only practice you did, just think about all those little times throughout the day. If you can find 21-minute sections throughout the day that you can be grateful for something small, well, that adds up to a 20-minute gratitude practice. So look for the things that make you smile. Look for the things that light you up. And if you've got a few moments longer, go with the momentum of it. If it's a sunny day and that's really making you smile, what else can you be grateful for? Can you hear the birds singing? Are the trees looking green and lush? Really just go with it and stretch it out for as long as you can, because the longer you can reside in those higher vibrations, the more chance you have of attracting in those bigger desires that you really want. And I've got another pro tip for you on this one, and that is, if you want to stretch out this gratitude even more and even spread this loving, appreciative state around, then tell others what you're grateful for. One of the little practices that we have as a family that we enjoy every dinner time is we have this rock that we pass around the table whilst we're eating, and everybody just mentions one thing that they're grateful for that day. And so by reiterating what you're grateful for, you keep bringing that state up, you keep it becoming something that's normal in your life. We're so used to complaining and moaning about things, and it's only because it's become part of our habits. So make gratitude and appreciation a habit, and your life will be amazing. So the next technique that I have for you is to loosen up on the specifics of your desires. So what do I mean about loosening up on the specifics of your desires? Well, what I have come to find is that we, especially I think as mothers, we like to be able to control things. We don't like the unknown, especially when it comes to our children. And so what happens is, when we sit and we think about what it is that we want in our life and in our reality, we get so specific on the how and the who and the where and the when. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but what I have started to find from my own personal experience is that when I become so specific on how it is that I want to receive something into my reality, who has to deliver it, when they have to deliver it, and how they're going to deliver it, what tends to happen is that I can manifest it into my reality. But I realise when it actually comes that it doesn't make me as happy as I thought it would, or it's not quite what I was imagining. So what I recommend to do is to loosen up on all of these aspects and just concentrate on the value or the feeling that it is that you want to experience, and hand it over to the person that knows you best of all, which is your inner being. Because your inner being, your soul, your spirit, whatever it is you want to call it, the part of you that's connected to that non-physical, that is residing constantly in a high vibration, that is connected to source, that is the part of you that knows best how you want to receive it, when you want to receive it, and who you want to receive it from. It's not saying that you don't know yourself, but what can happen is our conditioning and society's opinions can kind of get in the way of how we think we should receive things and the way in which we should receive things. And by focusing on the values that you want, focusing on the emotional outcome that you want, and being less specific, is you're giving the universe more wiggle room to present you with the best possible outcome, with the best possible manifestation. Whereas when you focus so specifically, the universe has no other choice but to deliver it in the way that you want it, or the way you perceive that you want it. And what I found is it becomes a really exciting way to start creating your own reality, because there's obviously a part of you that's creating these desires, that's experiencing contrast, and your desires are being created as a result of it. But then what's exciting is to see what comes in response to you getting into alignment and raising your vibration and maintaining it, is things that you never even imagined, you never even thought possible. they're the things that start to come to you because you're not being so specific and so kind of controlling around how and when and who, and with all of this, you're not so specific on it. You're allowing more creativity. You're allowing the universe to add more creativity into your manifestation. So if there's something very specific that you're trying to manifest in your life, just see if you can take a step back from it and just highlight those basic qualities. So if it's a career, maybe don't talk about specifically what that career is in, but maybe put out things like, I want to feel creative, I want to be able to bring in money, I want to have flexibility in my job, those kinds of things. So just ask yourself some questions. Just see if you can go general with some of the things in your life that you really desire. See if you can remove the how and the who and the when and the where from it, and just see if you can strip it back to the bare bones, and then sit and focus on that simplified version of what it is that you desire, and just see what happens. And if anything does happen, I'd be really interested. Let us know in the comments, because I love a good manifestation story. It literally gives me goosebumps. I think it is amazing what we can do in this reality. So please share some of those high vibing stories in the comments, because I absolutely love to hear them. And so this concludes my list of tools and techniques which you can easily start using today without having to carve out any extra time in your day to begin to raise your vibration, live from a place of gratitude and appreciation, and start to consciously create the reality that you desire. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to be a part of the community that I am creating, a community of mothers who are doing things differently, who are consciously creating the reality that they desire, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and come and be part of this amazing community. Tap the notification bell so that you get notified of when new videos are released. And if you enjoyed this video, then I suggest that the next one that you watch is this video that I have created here, which is all about befriending your limiting beliefs and using them as a powerful container to ignite creativity and expansion. Have a beautiful day, whatever it is you are doing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.